Hello, my name is Andrew Antonetti, and I'm going to be going over the anatomy of the brain. So the first part I'm going to be going over is the exterior of the brain, which this front part here is the cerebrum, and it is divided by the longitudinal cerebral fissure, which is this deep part right here that separates the two hemispheres. And then we also have the gyrus, which is like this part right here. And then the sulcus, which is like the folds that you see here. And that is the external part. Okay, so now we're going to go over the brain stem. First, we're going to do the midbrain, which is right here. And then we're going to do the cerebral peduncle, which is right here. And then we have the superior colliculus, which is here. And then the inferior colliculus, which is right there. Next, we're going to go over the pons, which is right here. And then the medulla oblongata, which is right here. Okay, so now we're going to go over the cerebellum, which is, let me flip it over for you here. This part right there, this bulb thing in the back of the brain, this whole thing here. And then that also includes the vermis, which is this part that you can see right here, the middle part. So that's the vermis. And then we have the lateral hemisphere, which is divided into two sections. We have the left cerebral hemisphere and then the right cerebral hemisphere. Those are the lateral hemispheres. Okay, so now we're going to go over the meninges, which is like the outer covering of the brain. On the very outside, we have the dura mater, which is the very outside part. Underneath that, there is, you probably can't see it, but there is the arachnoid. And then underneath that, which is this part here, is the pia mater. Next thing I want to show you is the pituitary gland, which is this part right, hard to see right there. That's the pituitary gland. Okay, next we're going to go over the cranial nerves. The first one is cranial nerve 1, which consists of the olfactory bulb, which is these two sections here. And then what extends out from there is the olfactory nerve. And that's right there. Okay, next we're going to go over the cranial nerve 2, which is the optic. That consists of three parts. Up top, we have the optic nerve. And then the middle part is the optic chiasm. And then underneath, you can't see here, but it kind of makes like an X. And then that is the optic tract. So this little X nerve here makes the cranial nerve 2 the optic. Okay, so now we're going to go over cranial nerves 3 through 6. So having trouble locating them on this brain, except for the ocular motor, which are these two nerves here. But where the trochlear and the trigeminal and the abducens would be is the trochlear nerve would be like right here, and the trigeminal nerve would be like right here, and then the abducens is more in the middle. They're kind of a little more thin, be right here. Okay, now we're going to go over half of the mid-sagittal section. First, we have the corpus callosum, which is this right here. And then we have the thalamus, which is this right here. And then the hypothalamus. And after that, we have the lateral ventricle, which is, you can open that up, inside here. And then also inside there, we have the septum pellucidum and the choroid plexus, which I believe is this dark matter right inside there. Okay, so now we're going to go over the other part of the mid-sagittal section. There's 4 pieces that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is the third ventricle, which is it's right in here. And then we have the cerebral aqueduct, which it runs along the thalamus, so it's like right here, goes this way. Then we have the fourth ventricle, which is underneath the cerebellum, so it's like inside here. And then we have the arbor vitae, which is this part here that looks like a tree. Okay, so the last part I'm going to talk about is the spinal cord. So we have the white matter, which is like the white part that you see here, and then the gray matter, which is this kind of shaded in areas that we have here. We also have the dorsal and ventral roots, which, looking at the spinal cord together, what I'm trying to do here. We have the spinal cord together. The dorsal and ventral roots will come out and stem out into the rest of the spinal cord. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.